pleasant day everyone. So we are the reporters for today. I am Karil Jane S. Domingo and my co-reporters are
I'm Jamaica Garcia Morada.
I am Ronabel C. Mariano.
Our topic for today is all about weathering and soil erosion.
These are the three main objectives of our report. First, student will able to compare and contrast weathering and erosion. Next, student will able to list the process that cause weathering and erosion. And for the last, student will able to identify the various effects of weathering and erosion.
So before we start our lesson, we prepare a game for you to enjoy our lesson. The name of our game is Guess the Pic. So the direction is just simply guess the picture or simply name the picture. So what do you think the first picture all about? That's right. The first picture is rain. The next picture, so guess what is the next picture all about? That's right. The second picture is wind. Who can guess what is the third picture all about? That's right. The third picture is land or soil. And last, who can guess what is the last picture all about? Correct. The last picture is ice. So that's our game all about. Weathering. Weathering refers to the decomposition of soils and their minerals and rocks through direct contact with the Earth's atmosphere. While the erosion refers to the displacement of solids such as water, wind, and ice. Simply that the difference of erosion and weathering are, erosion is eroded materials are displaced, while weathering is weathered materials are not displaced.
Weathering. It is the process of decomposing, breaking up, or changing the color of rocks. Ito yung proseso ng pagkasira, pagkabulok o pagbabago ng kulay at pagka-dissolve ng mga bato at minerals in the Earth's surface. Kapag ang isang bato ay nasira, dito na papasok ang proseso ng erosion kung saan ito ang magdadala ng mga piraso ng bato at minerals palayo. Sa weathering, walang paggalaw o pagbabago ng lokasyon ang nagaganap dito. The agents of weathering and erosion are water, acids, salt, plants, animals, and changes in temperature. Halimbawa nito ay ang hangin at tubig kung saan nagiging sanhi ito ng paghihiwalay at pagbabago ng kulay ng mga bato. Erosion. It is the movement of rocks and sediments that have been broken apart through weathering. Ito yung proseso ng pagkilos o paggalaw ng lupa o bato mula sa dati nitong kinalalagyan papunta sa ibang lokasyon. Halimbawa nito ay ang alikabok kung saan dinadala ito ng hangin papunta sa ibang lugar. What are the differences between weathering and erosion? So, ano nga ba ang pinagkaiba ng weathering at erosion? As you can see in your screens, if we break up a rock into small pieces and has no movement happened, it is called weathering. And when the pieces of rocks are moved into somewhere or in other location by natural forces or by hand, and there is movement happened, it is called the process of erosion. Now, let's hear from Ms. Domingo the different types of weathering.
There are three main types of weathering. First is the chemical weathering. Second is the mechanical weathering. And the third is biological weathering. First, chemical weathering causes changes to the minerals inside or on the surface of the rock. This process happens through chemical reaction. For example, as you can see on the picture. Chemical weathering is caused by rainwater reacting with the mineral grains in rocks to form new minerals or clays and soluble salts. So these reactions occurs particularly when the water is slightly acidic. So for example, rust, which happens through oxidation and acid rain, caused from carbonic acid, dissolves rocks. It can form soil because the minerals and rocks break into small pieces. Next is the mechanical weathering, caused by frost, ice, moving water, or heat from the sun. Example, when water seeps inside a rock and freezes, the frozen water expands, causing the cracks in the rock, which eventually breaks the rock into small pieces. So for example na lang is yung process makikita dyan sa picture. Yan. And last, biological weathering is the process that occurs when plants, animals, and other living organisms cause larger rocks to be broken into smaller pieces. For example, worm and tree roots. Tree roots and worm are two examples of biological weathering because in both cases, the weathering happens because of a living organism. These three types of weathering causes rocks to break up into smaller pieces, which sets the stages for erosion to take place. So let's hear Miss Jamaica Morada to further explain the erosion and its causes of erosion.
Erosion. So what is erosion? Erosion, it is an action of surface process that removes soil, rock, or dissolves material from one location on the Earth's crust and then transport it to another location where it can be deposited. So, depending on the type of force, it can happen quickly or take thousands of years. And we have three main forces that cause erosion. These are water, wind, and ice. First, water. Water is the most common cause of soil erosion. When it rains for an extended period of time, the ground gets so wet that it's loosened and begin to flow. Example po nito is yung always nating nakikita na muddy water flowing down the street every time na umuulan ng matagal or malakas. And alam naman natin na kapag ang isang soil ay nabasa, may tendency na ito ay mag-erode or mag-displace. Napaka-common po ito sa mga matataas na lugar na every time na umuulan or malakas, maraming nangyayaring pagguho ng lupa. And yes, common but alarming. Next, wind. Wind can also make soil erode by displacing it. Depending on the circumstances, it might be end up with dry soil erosion that is carried with the wind, or a combination of wind and rain that grabs the land and throws all over the place. So example po nito is yung mga hurricane, ipo-ipo, or yung tinatawag nating alipugpog. Next, ice. The concept of ice is same as water. It freezes on the ground and eventually melt. So safe lang po sila sa water. But in this condition, kapag nagmelt ang ice underneath, ito ay malulusaw and eventually magkukause ng erosion. And napaka-timely po nito, lalo naman sa mga bali-balita lately na sa North Pole or Antarctica that huge amount of glaciers ay nasisira. Deposition. Deposition, it is a process of sediments, soil, and rocks being added to a landform or landmass. So deposition is a natural result of erosion, that sediments being transferred to or deposited somewhere. Deposition is where the sediments created by erosion. So the most typical example of deposition would be frost. Frost is the deposition of water vapor from humid air or air containing water vapor on the soil surface.
Weathering and erosion are happening all the time. So when these processes has finished, another process just might be starting. So the differences between weathering and erosion are: weathering causes rock to break up into smaller pieces, while erosion is the process of taking these particles somewhere else. That's all. Thank you for listening and have a great day.